So in this video I'm going to talk about the mind and try to answer some fundamental questions related to it, such as how do we think, how we feel the way we do, how are we aware of our environment, and how do we predict. Knowing these questions helps with understanding yourself and other people. It helps to better judge yourself. For example, why you keep forgetting certain things, why you have a bad habit, why you're not motivated enough to do something, why there's certain things that used to make you happy don't make you happy anymore, and many other questions. To start, we should make ourselves familiar with some elements of an intelligence system, which human is just one of them, the most advanced one actually. First we have agent, which is the entity that can take action, feel and interact with an environment. And an environment is the entity that agent interacts with, gets its input from and sends its output to. In our case, human is an agent and the environment is just everything else. We can do whatever we want and affect it and get the response. Agent and environment together make the world. Next we have feeling and feeling system. Feeling is a value that is calculated by the feeling system of agent. Based on our current situation, and all the agent is interested in is to act in a way to increase this value or to feel good and prevent it to be low or to feel bad. The thing is, we don't know how or why we feel the way we feel. The feeling system is a black box to us. All we know is that certain situations make us feel certain ways. The next topic to discuss is awareness. How are we aware of our environment? How do we get more aware of our environment when needed, and how do we know when it's needed to pay more attention to details? The answer is patterns. A pattern is for describing a situation, and a situation might be described in multiple ways using multiple patterns. We can sense a situation by seeing, by hearing, by touching, by tasting, or by smelling. It is easier to understand patterns with some examples. Here you see a set of cards. I show you some patterns and we'll see which ones match the pattern. First we have black, and as you can see, one of the cards match it. Next we have the number 2, which we get 2 matches. Next we have the rectangle shape, which in our case all of the cards match this pattern. Next we have heart, which as you can see 2 of the cards match it. Next we have a pattern which is for more than 5 shapes, which we have 1 card matching it. And next we have no number, a card that has no number on it, which we get no matches. To recognize more things and more details, the mind has to create more new patterns. The way the mind creates more patterns is by extending patterns that already exist. And by extending I mean to create more patterns similar to the one already exists. The mind knows when to create more patterns. Extending excessive patterns just make the situation more complicated and will make it slow, because for each pattern there is some memory dedicated to it, which we'll discuss later. And extending insufficient patterns will make it not sensitive to some important patterns which might have helped it. So there must be some very efficient methods for extending the right patterns at the right time. Here are some examples of the case which new patterns will be created. For example, you move to a new place. At first things are vague to you. You only see important and main objects in this new place. But as you spend more time in this new place, you get more familiar with your surrounding. You see more things. You notice more details. Another example is when you see two twins for the first time. At first, you might not be able to tell which one is which, but after you spend more time with them and interact with them, you notice some differences between the two. And finally, after some time spending with them, you can tell which one is which. There are actually many more examples that I can give you. For example, remembering the location of certain things so that it does not do you harm. Or when you're learning a new language and listening to the people that speak the language, and at first it might be very vague to you and you're not able to understand certain words, but after some time you get more familiar with it and can finally understand everything that the other person is saying. The other example is handwriting, and again, let's say that you're learning a new language and you're trying to read the handwriting of other people that written in that new language, and at first it is vague, but after some time trying to read them, you get more familiar with it and can finally understand it. So by now we covered the basics of patterns, which is for recognizing the current state that the agent or human is in. It's no use if we do nothing in a recognized situation, which brings us to the next topic. Methods. A method is a way to do something, for example walking, standing, saying hi, or raising your right hand. Like pattern extending, we have method extending, which is for taking more skilled actions. Compare the painting of a kid to an adult. I think this picture says it all. The next topic is experience, and an experience is related to a pattern and all the data related to it, which is based on past events. The data includes the feeling of the agent in the pattern and all the taken methods when it was a match, and the results or patterns that match of the taken methods, which is related to the step after executing the method. Let's explain experience with an example, and in this example the pattern is seeing a pizza, and we have been in this situation 3 times and it always felt good. Maybe you like the shape, maybe you like the smell, whatever the reason, it was good. And the methods that you took was to either grab and eat it, which you have done it 2 times, which resulted in eating the pizza, or throwing it away, which resulted in not eating the pizza. Experiences lead to other experiences. In case of the previous experience, we might have the following experience after it. So as you can see, an experience is related to one pattern and multiple feelings and methods, and for each method multiple results are stored. Here is how it all works. First, you're in a situation, then a pattern might match it, and a pattern is associated with an experience. Then you feel it and store that feeling in the experience. Now you should choose one of the methods in the method list, and after choosing a method you get the result and you will store that result or remember that result. When a pattern matches too much and its methods have been taken too many times, we have a better understanding of the experience and its methods and can judge it based on its results. One important factor to consider is accuracy of our prediction, which is directly affected by confidence. The more data we have, the more confident we are. consistency. The more similar our data, the more consistent the data. For example, when we have been in a situation many times and we always felt good by it, we can know for sure that if we experience it again, we will feel good about it. But if we haven't been in a situation much, we couldn't be confident about it. Also, if we have been in a situation many times, but always get very different feelings, our data is not consistent, and again, we can't be sure what would we feel if we experience it again. The thing is, we need to, and we do measure the accuracy because the real world is volatile. The goal is to understand and have a better control to get better feelings, and by understanding I mean correctly predicting the future. The last topic is thinking. In each situation, we should do something, meaning to choose a method and run it. Among possible methods, we should take the best method, that is, the method that benefits us the most or gives the best feeling. The process of evaluating possible actions or methods, considering their future effects, and choosing one is called thinking. For each situation, one or multiple patterns might be matched. Using experience of these patterns, if we have any, we can predict the result and accuracy of each method of these experiences. When we are making a decision to choose a method, we evaluate every single method or option and choose the best one. And because the related pattern of each methods are linked like a chain and each might lead to other ones, we consider those as well and kind of predict the result in the long term. The more future results we consider, the wiser our decision. And if I want to show it to you visually, we would have something like this. We are in a situation that two patterns are matched, and we can see the related experiences in here, experience 5 and experience 3. And for each of these experiences, there is feeling and accuracy of that feeling. For example, for experience 5, there are two methods, method 9 and method 8. And in here we can see that we are 100% sure that if we take method 9 in this pattern, it will lead us to experience 4. And with the accuracy of 50%, we are going to go to experience 5. And each of these experiences can lead us to some other things. So that is how we can just kind of see where it can lead us to and how we would feel. Now consider this scenario. We see an apple next to a new fruit that we have never seen or tasted. In this case, just because we tried apple before and liked it, we shouldn't always choose apple over the new fruit. We need to try new ones and consider them good and have a positive feeling about it until we experience it and get the real feeling. That's called exploration or hope. In our earlier years, we experience more new things, and that's why the younger we are, the more likely we are to laugh at a joke, for example. Calculating values of methods of experiences is expensive, and the computation increases exponentially as we consider more future events. But calculating value of a method every single time is not necessary. We can calculate it once and store it to use later instead of calculating the value. A stored method value is called a skill. Skills are like unconsciousness. We just know what to do without thinking about it. Thinking is probably the most complicated part of this whole system. Thank you for watching.